Book description: Hold On to Your Kids, Why Children Need Parents More Than Friends. Authored by Gordon Neufeld and Gabor Mate. Topic: Educational Psychology and Child Rearing. Introduction to the book. In our modern age, parents face an unprecedented challenge. How do they regain their influence in their children's lives amidst peer pressure, media, and modern technology? Hold On to Your Kids is a revolutionary book that highlights one of the most important educational problems of the modern era, which is children losing their emotional connection to their parents and turning to their peers as a primary source of guidance and support. The authors, Dr. Gordon Neufeld, an expert in developmental psychology, and Dr. Gabor Mate, a physician and specialist in human behavior, discuss how children no longer look to their parents as the primary source of comfort and guidance, which has led to deep behavioral, social, and family problems. The book explains how parents can regain this pivotal role using psychological and educational strategies based on building strong emotional relationships instead of coercive control. The central idea of the book: peer orientation versus parent orientation. 1. What does peer orientation mean? Peer orientation means that a child has become dependent on his friends for emotional and value guidance instead of his parents. This phenomenon has become increasingly common in modern societies as children spend more time with their peers in schools, on the internet, and in various social activities. 2. Why is this phenomenon a problem? Children are naturally emotionally immature, so when they rely on their peers instead of their parents, they become vulnerable to immature and ill-considered behaviors. Peers cannot provide the unconditional love or deep emotional guidance that parents do. This orientation weakens the authority of parents, making educational influence more difficult. It increases the rate of bullying, social isolation, and low self-esteem in children. 3. How does the loss of attachment between a child and his parents occur? Children spend more time with their friends than with their parents. Reliance on technology, such as smartphones and social media, which reduces family interaction. Parenting styles that rely on punishment and harshness instead of building a strong emotional relationship. Work pressures on parents that make them emotionally unavailable to their children. Social changes and their impact on parenting. The authors explain how cultural and social transformations in recent decades have affected the way children are raised, the most important of which are: 1. Disintegration of the traditional family, increasing divorce rates, which has led to children losing a stable connection with one of their parents. Reducing the role of grandparents and relatives in parenting, which has made children more isolated from mature sources of guidance. 2. Modern education. Schools no longer provide an environment that fosters emotional connection between teachers and students, which has made children rely on their peers instead of teachers as a source of guidance. 3. Technology and media. Smartphones and social applications make children more connected to their peer networks than to their parents. The media promotes a culture of rebellion against parental authority and promotes early independence, which can sometimes be harmful. The impact of losing parental influence on children. 1. Psychological and emotional impact. Children who are emotionally separated from their parents suffer from higher rates of anxiety and depression. The lack of mature guidance makes children more susceptible to social pressures and negative behaviors. 2. Behavioral impact. Children's weak ability to control themselves, leading to increased rates of violence and reckless behavior. Rejection of parental guidance, leading to ongoing conflicts within the family. 3. Impact on academic achievement. Children who rely on their peers instead of their parents have less motivation to learn because they do not feel the need for academic success from the family's perspective. Increased rates of school absenteeism and difficulty concentrating due to social pressures. How do parents regain their influence? 1. Rebuilding the emotional relationship with the child. Spending daily time with the child to talk, play, and engage in shared activities. Listen to the child without judgment or criticism. Express love and support on an ongoing basis. 2. Reduce dependence on peers. Limit the time the child spends with friends without supervision. Strengthen family bonds through shared activities such as travel and family events. Monitor the impact of social media on the child. 3. Set clear but loving boundaries. Children need clear rules, but they must be coupled with emotional guidance. Do not resort to harsh punishments, but rather use positive guidance methods. 4. Strengthen the role of the family as a source of emotional security. Encourage the relationship between the child and other family members, such as grandparents, aunts, and uncles. Build a family culture based on support and understanding. The most important lessons learned from the book. 1. Children need emotional connection with their parents before anything else. 2. If this connection is not available, they will look for it in peers, which may lead to behavioral and psychological problems. 3. Parents can regain their influence by building a strong relationship with their children, not through control or punishment. 4. Modern media and technology greatly affect the relationship between the child and his parents, and parents must manage them wisely. Why is this book important for every parent? The book provides an in-depth analysis of a problem that most parents suffer from without realizing its real causes. It provides practical and applicable solutions to improve the relationship with children. It helps in understanding the psychological and social effects on raising children in the modern era. If you are looking for effective ways to restore your relationship with your children and make them depend on you instead of their peers, this book is considered one of the best books to read in the field of modern parenting. Prominent stories and examples in the book. Hold on to your kids. The book is based on real stories and practical situations that illustrate how children lose their emotional connection with their parents due to peer influence, and how parents can restore this connection. Here are some of the most prominent of these stories. 1. The story of the child whose behavior changed because of his friends. The case. Ethan, an 11-year-old boy, loved his parents and enjoyed spending time with them. He loved going on trips with his family and participating in family activities. But after moving to a new school, he began to get closer to his friends and began to spend most of his time with them. Changes that his parents noticed. He began to talk to them in a sharp and rebellious tone. He was no longer interested in family activities and preferred to stay with his friends. He became more attached to his phone and social media. He began to ignore his school responsibilities and tended to negative behaviors. When his parents tried to intervene, he resisted and refused to listen to them. Author's analysis. The book explains that what happened to Ethan is a clear example of peer orientation, as he began to seek acceptance and guidance from his friends instead of his parents. This led to his behavior changing to be more in line with his new group, which caused his parents' influence on him to weaken. The solution presented by the book. Instead of punishing him or forcing him to change his behavior, his parents began to focus on rebuilding their relationship with him. They reduced the time he spent on the phone and the internet in a non-coercive way by offering alternative, enjoyable activities. They set aside time each day to spend time with him, whether through conversation, play, or doing shared activities. They reintegrated him into family activities and made sure that he felt cared for and loved unconditionally. Over time, Ethan began to return to his normal self and became more open to his parents. 2. The story of a teenager who rejected her parents' advice and was influenced by her friends. Case. Maya, a 14-year-old girl, was very close to her mother in her childhood, sharing every detail of her life with her. But as she entered adolescence, she began to change, becoming more isolated and less interactive with her family. Changes noticed by her mother. She no longer talks to her mother about her feelings or problems as she used to do before. She became greatly influenced by her friends' opinions and adopted their behaviors, even if they were against family values. She began to show disrespect for her parents' authority and refused to follow household rules. She began to avoid spending time at home and preferred to stay with her friends. Author's analysis. The book explains that Maya has come to rely on her friends as a primary source of support and guidance instead of her mother. When this happens, the child becomes more inclined to reject their parents' advice because they are no longer the primary source of emotional security. The solution offered by the book. Instead of forcing Maya to talk, her mother tried to rebuild her emotional connection with her through informal conversations and shared activities. She showed understanding for her feelings instead of criticizing them, which made Maya feel safe in expressing herself. She reduced the influence of friends by strengthening family ties and involving Maya in positive social activities. After a while, Maya opened up to her mother again and became more balanced in her relationships. 3. The story of a child who became aggressive due to loss of connection with his parents. The case. Jack, an 8-year-old child, was calm and easy to deal with, but suddenly began to display aggressive behaviors at school and at home. He would yell at his parents, fight with his classmates, and refuse to follow the rules. Changes noticed by his parents. He became quick to anger and aggressive even in simple situations. He no longer responded to attempts at guidance or punishment, but his rebellion increased. He began to prefer playing with his friends instead of spending time with his family. He suffered from a decline in his academic level due to lack of concentration and excessive excitement. Ryan, author's analysis. The book explains that Jack's aggression was not due to bad parenting, as his parents believed, but rather was the result of a loss of emotional connection with them. When a child feels disconnected from his parents, he may express this through aggressive behavior as an unconscious way to get attention or express feelings of frustration. The solution provided by the book. Instead of punishing him, his parents focused on rebuilding the relationship with him by allocating special time for him every day. They did fun activities with him, such as sports, games, and trips, which enhanced his sense of belonging. They used calm language and guidance instead of yelling and punishment. Over time, Jack's behavior improved, and he became calmer and more accepting of guidance. 4. The story of the child who felt neglected because of his parents' busyness. Case. Adam, a 10-year-old boy, suffered from a constant feeling of neglect. His parents worked long hours, and when they came home, they were busy with their electronic devices or other work. Adam felt that his parents did not care about him, so he started looking for attention elsewhere. Changes noticed by the parents. He became more attached to his friends, even if they were negatively influencing him. He started acting out just to get attention. He lost interest in studying and became more isolated. He started turning to the internet and social media to find acceptance and belonging. Author's analysis. Adam was not an unruly child, but he suffered from a lack of emotional connection with his parents. When a child does not feel attention from his parents, he looks for it in friends or other means such as the internet. The solution provided by the book. The parents started setting aside time each day to spend with Adam without being distracted by phones or work. They used active listening techniques to make him feel that his voice was heard. Encourage him to talk about his feelings instead of ignoring them. Over time, Adam became closer to his parents and less dependent on his friends. Lessons learned from these stories. Loss of emotional attachment with a child leads to many behavioral and psychological problems. Punishment and control do not solve the problem, but rebuilding the emotional relationship is the real solution. Children need to feel that their parents are a source of security and support, not peers. Taking time for the child and communicating honestly with him is the key to regaining parental influence. These stories reflect how, through love and communication, parents can regain their primary role in their children's lives.